Kennedy! This might be my favorite book you've ever written. Girl, you wrote your ass off. Score by Kennedy Ryan is a second-chance romance depicting the love story between Verity, our heroine, and Monk, our hero. Their love story is a tumultuous one, filled with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Yet, in true Kennedy Ryan fashion, she puts the pieces of the reader's broken heart back together again in a way that's so beautiful and incredibly satisfying. In real life, I don't believe in second chances. You only get one time to fumble me. But in a book, I eat it up. There's also forced proximity in Score, as both Verity and Monk were hired to create for Cannon Holt's latest film, Desi Blue. Verity is hired as the screenwriter, and Monk is hired as the film's composer. These two having to work together professionally after their relationship ended 12 years ago will prove to be extremely salacious. Score is not a slow burn. Verity and Monk have instant chemistry, and they get straight to business right away, even if it's with a third. Score is not like many of the other Kennedy Ryan books where the couple consummates around 50% or more of the way through the book. Verity and Monk are rabbits, and they can't be stopped. This won't be a character breakdown like I've ever done before in any of my reviews. I'm not going to be describing the hero and the heroine, because to be honest, that feels a little pedestrian when referring to characters written by Kennedy Ryan. We know that Verity is a Golden Globe Award-winning screenwriter who's bisexual and bipolar. We know that Monk is a Grammy Award-winning musician and composer. But what I want to talk about is how these characters made me feel. I am still blown away by how well written Verity was as our heroine. So much so that she made me confront how I approach or deal with people that I know personally that struggle with mental illness. I fell in love with her, and I was rooting for her so bad, despite her faults and her mistakes. And she made me confront whether I do that for the people in my real life. That is the power of representation and visibility, which we all know Kennedy champions in her work. There's a line at the end of Score in which Verity says, "I'm a coin, two-sided and tossed in the air, left spinning. I'm sun and storms, hope and fear, faith and despair, a living, breathing dichotomy searching for constancy, mania and depression. I'm me, and I am loved." That is Verity. And while she may seem like a lot to others, to Monk, she continues, "And when this world leaves me spinning, Monk, this connection is my gyroscope. It doesn't fix, but it steadies. It stays. Even if I fly, even if I crash, it stays." Speaking of the devil, right, Thelonious Bellamy? I got something to ask you. If you could only save one thing in a fire, what would it be, and why would it be me? My man. I've gone to Kennedy Ryan's book tour for Score in Harlem. I've watched several of her interviews around this book. And one thing that she keeps emphasizing is that there is someone out there for which you are not too much. And Mr. Monk, he's proof of that. Amen. Amen. Ooh, he's a fictional character. If he can be imagined, he can be real. If he can be written, he can be real. There are men out there in the real world just like Monk, and I refuse to believe otherwise. I may not have bipolar disorder or any other mental illness, but I'm far from perfect. And this character has helped me to believe that there is someone out there who believes I'm perfect for them. And Verity, despite her being in an open relationship with a woman at the beginning of the book, despite her bipolar diagnosis that he learns about towards the end of the book, is perfect for Monk. And reading about this man we keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Verity and Monk's chemistry is instant. Let me tell you something. Kennedy Ryan is a wordsmith, and she is at the top of her game in Score because she so clearly paints a picture for us that allows us to feel the instant chemistry and spark between Verity and Monk. She is the metaphor queen, okay? Like, Kennedy doesn't tell us that Verity and Monk have chemistry. She uses insane wordplay to show us. And it's so delicious to read. I usually feel very deeply for the couples that Kennedy writes, but for whatever reason, I have not felt the love, the pain, the betrayal, the tension, the yearning with other Kennedy Ryan couples as deeply as I have with Verity and Monk. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I felt so deeply with these two is because expectations were given from the beginning. They were clear, the boundaries were defined, and both parties agreed. There was no miscommunication. So when their relationship crashed and burned, it was all the more devastating. I'm gonna give you an unpopular opinion. I don't think Kennedy Ryan is a super spicy or smutty romance author. She's said that this book she believes is her spiciest. And one of the reasons why I think she says that is because she wrote a sex scene between Verity and Monk in which they perform a sexual act that no other couple in any of her books have performed before. And also because there is a threesome. But again, it's not like super graphic to the point of like, you know? And neither of the scenes feel out of place. They're purposeful. As Kennedy Ryan states in many of her interviews, she uses her romance novels as a vehicle to create dialogue. It's like adding sugar to your medicine. And that scene between Verity and Monk towards the end of the book, it did just that. Without being too detailed, I loved it. And I was so happy that both parties enjoyed the experience. And I loved the care that they had for one another at its conclusion. This book was perfect. That is the pro. So therefore, there are no cons. Next. I have so many favorite moments in Score, but I'm just gonna highlight two of them. One moment broke my heart. The other moment molded it back together again. First, the heartbreak. If you have your Score book, open up to chapters 13 through 15. Y'all. Now, in these chapters, Verity, unbeknownst to herself and to Monk, is in the middle of a manic episode. She is acting extremely out of character. She ends up in a compromising situation that leads Monk to break up with her in a way that felt like he was breaking up with me. He kicked her out of his apartment and his life in the most devastating fashion. And what made it worse is that even though Verity was distraught over it, she spiraled even further into mania and landed in the psych ward. The writing in these chapters, superb. Excellent. And it aggressively tugged on my heartstrings like nobody's business. And now for the heart mending. Let's open up our books to chapter 45. That chapter was perfection from top to bottom. There's conflict resolution, there's revelation, there's affirmation, there's trust, there's security. It's sensational. One of the best chapters I've ever read in a book. Some of my favorite quotes are in this chapter, so let's read some of them, shall we? This chapter is in Monk's point of view. That's important for context. Yeah, she says with a grim twist to her mouth. This thing ruins marriages and credit scores and friendships. I've accepted this. I manage it, but it's not easy. I'm not asking anyone else to share it. You mean you're not letting anyone else share it? It's not some privilege. You are. I brush a knuckle along the curve of her cheek. Baby, you're the privilege! If I had known you were going through this, nothing would have kept me away from you. I cup her cheek and rub my thumb across the soft skin. If you were sick, depressed, spiraling, they would have to pry me away from you. Now this one takes the cake for me. Verity says, I'm glad I did it without the added pressure of maintaining a romantic relationship. My whole life does not revolve around having a partner, and being single is not some holding pattern until I find love. Against all odds, I've built a full, rewarding life with work I love and family and friends I adore. That could never be a waste. Period! Y'all, this chapter was so good. This is what I wrote at the end of it. What other rating did you think I was going to give this book? I just told you it was perfect. Score by Kennedy Ryan is a 5-star read. It's absolutely incredible. And as of now, it's my favorite book of 2026. If you feel or have ever felt like you could never be loved and loved correctly, if you feel like you're about to give up hope, don't just yet. There's someone out there who will love you and accept you just the way you are. And Score will prove it to you. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Turn on your notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop every Friday at 12 p.m. And as always, stay booked.